Okay. Hi, everyone. Good evening. You're welcome to Let's Discuss, where we talk about practical issues that impact on our lives as Christians. Not only that, we talk about things that would enable us be able to perform better, both as Christians and as people, humans here on earth, in order to fulfill our potential in a non-religious manner. You're welcome. And for those of you joining us for the first time, feel free to like, share, subscribe, and more importantly, participate in today's conversation. We want to hear not just one side of the whole matter, but we want to hear all sides of the matter, and we would like your views as well. Feel free to chat, to drop your messages. Due to internet challenges, at times the software we use doesn't bring all the comments in at sort of instantly. So please be patient. In case you've sent your comments through and we've not read it, it's because of the delay in the timing of the software. So you're all welcome all. Okay, yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, we have Ngozi's joined us, and I think a few other people have joined. Last week, there was a bit of a funny one. We couldn't connect on Facebook. I guess Facebook had a challenge and we couldn't stream it on Facebook. What I've done is we've now got the download, and I'll be sharing that on Facebook as well, just for people who want to pick up on what we talked about last week. And you're all welcome in Jesus' name. So before I start, I want to appreciate everyone as well. Thanks so much for joining. Your encouragement, support, on and off live, online and offline comments have really been helpful to us to help us continue going. And I'll just start with today's topic. Today's topic is Unleash Your Inner Creative. And I hope towards the end, a few people would guide how this conversation ends, because I have the starting, I have the middle, I have a bit of the conclusion, but not all. So I'll be looking forward to contributions from us to help craft a befitting finish. Let me start by saying creativity is not limited to the arts and music world. Creativity applies to every situation, every single area of our life. In fact, people have described creativity as a powerful force that lies in each and every one of us, which allows us to think outside the box, allows us to come up with original ideas and express ourselves in sort of like unique way, depending on the circumstance and the challenge we're facing. Creativity isn't limited to arts and culture. It's not limited to creating new music. It's not limited to creating a new picture. It's not limited to creativity maybe on the football field. Creativity dwells in each and every one of us. And today we'll be talking about how to unleash that inner creative. And we will talk about how it would benefit us as well. And towards the end, we'll understand how failure to unleash that inner creative or creativity in us might enable us live like an average or normal lifestyle. The inner creativity is that bonus that God has given us to express ourselves in unique ways and to stand out in a really interesting, fun way from the rest of the world. We'll talk about that. So let's start. Start. Okay. Welcome, Ma. Thank you, Ma. Yeah, we have my mom here, and we have yours here as well. So we have, yeah. So She said creative is the key to feeling alive. And I agree. Creativity helps us to become a better person. Let's start with um, a, a Bible quote or a Bible passage, and we'll take it from there. And I'll begin to build up the case. Genesis 1:27 says, God created mankind in his own image. In the image of God, he created them male and female, which means we're created in the image of God. And if God is the biggest creator we know, that means he's created us to have that ability to create things as well, which is why you hear of things like creative solutions, creative ideas, and some not so popular ones like creative accounting, which is seen as a way of creatively showcasing financial information in a fraudulent way or in a way that could be open, subject to interpretation, and people take advantage of that. Creativity is a good thing, and we all have creativity in us. One of the challenges about creativity is that, unfortunately, the world we are in currently is fast paced, is we have a lot of demands on our time. You hardly have time to even rest properly, talk less of having time to reflect or take time to engage in creativity. We'll look at that as well, how to create that space. And we will talk about why creativity might be the secret key that we have been looking for, or that you have been looking for, I have been looking for, in order to solve a multiple to solve multiple challenges that we are facing. It's I'm not promising it will be a silver bullet which would solve all the challenges, but it could be that silver bullet for you and for each individual. Let us start. Why is creativity important? One of the things about me is I hate sort of buzzwords, because buzzwords at times gets you excited, pumped up, and at the end of the day, when you do reflect on the buzzword, you it doesn't feel that important. Creativity helps us to resolve, like we said, it helps us to solve problems, it helps us to distinguish ourselves, it helps us to feel alive. And creativity isn't limited to, you can apply creativity in the design of your home, you can apply creativity in your workplace. If you are used to doing things in a certain way, creativity means looking at the way things are being done and saying, why can't we do it in a different way? Why can't we try something new? Creativity involves looking at particular circumstances and looking for a way out of it, which could be viewed as problem solving. Creativity applies in all spheres of life, in all circumstances, but from talking, you could be creative when you're talking, you could be creative when presenting. To give a good example, now I'm talking about creativity. I could say things like this about creativity or describe what I mean by creativity. Creativity just means doing something in a different way from the normal, which is why it's so fascinating that there's been a lot of examples of creativity which makes us to pause and wonder. I'll mention a few. One is Steve Jobs. A lot of people know him as the founder of Apple, that created the iPhone and many other great things that Apple uses worldwide. And Apple is, I think, the biggest company in the world in terms of their size, their cash assets, and things like that. So it is a very big company, very successful. And I dare say some of us are listening to this through Apple devices. But what a lot of people may not know or may know is that Steve Jobs is not a computer scientist. He is not a designer or a programmer. And some outlets or organizations have challenged him, calling himself like the founder, that he didn't create those technical solutions, that somebody else did, or he took the ideas from other things. What he studied before he dropped out of college was calligraphy, which is a way of writing things, and Eastern mystics also in the Eastern religion. But what he did was, we would say he was creative because he wasn't a technical person, but he was able to influence technical people to produce something which everybody is now using, both technical or not non-technical. And that's one of the benefits of creativity. Many times we limit ourselves to say, I'm not a specialist in this area. There are some people who are doing that. Because if you think about Steve Jobs, that he's not a designer, he's not a programmer. There's some people who have spent all their lives writing codes, who have spent their lives designing, who are computer scientists, who were not able to do the things he did. Therefore, creativity, we shouldn't feel limited by creativity, that our creativity cannot cut across a different field. There's so many examples. I wouldn't go into a lot of them. There are many people who have not been what we'll call experts, but they were able to do things in a different way. So some of us would know of Bob Dylan, very popular singer, songwriter. He plays the guitar. But people describe his singing as unconventional. He wasn't like an expert. There's another guy, Jason Pollock, who his own invention was drip painting, which was sort of like random painting and things like that. And he's well known worldwide. Therefore, creativity is already inside of us. But like the story Jesus said of a servant that was given one talent and chose to bury it. At times we bury it because we feel that we are either not specialists in that area or we are not good enough. I was watching a few, reading about some popular musicians. There was one, Gary Barlow, a few people might know him. He, most of the time, he plays based on a single key, and his keyboard playing is not advanced, but he's written so many songs that are bestsellers. I watched a master class by Alicia Keys as well. She said the hit songs are the ones that are simple songs that are maybe one note or two notes. Justin Timberland as well said for him to get a particular one hit, there was a particular hit song that he had to go to Japan or so and look at some of their local instruments and used it and incorporated it in that hit song. We can see that there are no limits to creativity. Some of the challenges we face just need a bit of creativity. But let's talk about what prevents us from being creative, and we'll then talk about how we can be creative over particular instances. So one of the things is that we all have a normal way of thinking. We have a routine. It could be work routine, it could be the way we think about things logically. And the what is really interesting is that most times we say, oh, we believe in Jesus, we trust in Jesus. But when we're talking about things we can or cannot do, we don't reference Jesus, who said we can do all things in him, everything in him, that he's able to strengthen us to do everything. We then remove Jesus from the picture and focus on our inadequacies. at times our creativity is limited by routine, that I'm used to doing things this way, and that's the way it should be. Um, and at times you don't want to vary it because that's the way you've been doing things. It could be as simple as cooking food in a particular way. It could be as simple as doing office work in a particular way. It could even be treating relationships in the same way you've been doing it. Um, Another thing is logic. We are creatures of logic. We try and make sense of everything by saying, uh, I don't think I have that creativity of other people. Let me just keep on doing things. That creative people are different, or they have a special thing, or they have a special angel that just touches them with a wand and they are creative. No, those are things that limit our creativity. At times we do skills assessments where we look at our skills and feel, I'm not as good as these people. These people are way better than me. One of the things I usually say is that there are very few professors, based on my research, I've seen just one who has won an award for music. There are many music professors, but only one from my research. I'm sure a few people might identify two or three more who have won awards for best performing music. So I'm not slating professors that they don't have the knowledge. There's a difference between having knowledge, having the skills, and being creative about it, making something out of nothing. We've seen a lot of hit songs. In fact, I dare say most hit songs, when they were being composed, were either songs people didn't think a lot of, and they just included it in. You'd see a lot of people coming out with this wonderful album, and the song that they like the least now becomes the hit song. Our normal way of thinking needs to change. That person who buried the talent exhibited a normal way of thinking by saying, I'm not good enough at this. I'm not a financier. I don't understand business. I'm just a servant. Therefore, let me hide this talent, because if I try something and I lose it, I'll be in a lot of trouble. That holds us back from being creative. And creativity, like I said, could be in any area. I know a man of God who once told people as well that you just have to change things. You have to change things, even if it means going to your house, changing the direction of your chairs. Just try and change things. Don't conform to your normal way of thinking, because the normal way of thinking has brought you to where you are and is likely to make you remain where you are. So Newton's um, laws of motion, it states that a body will remain at rest until another body of equal or more force comes to take it out of the, the rest and things like that. So you would remain one spot unless something changes. And one of the things that could change is changing the way you're thinking about, okay, what are the things I'm doing? How can I do it different? What are the ideas I have? How can I do it different? And the second thing around creativity, what limits creativity, are new experience. We need to create an environment that gives us new experiences, allows us to focus, generate new ideas and perspectives. No wonder we hear about great enterprise being born out of people's garages. A lot of people spend time to focus on ideas. That's why the library in some schools, people who go to the library are able to perform better, not just because they are going to the library, but because it allows them to focus in some cases. You have to change your environment. It doesn't have to be a large scale change. It could just be in many cases of what's been tried and trusted, just waking up maybe an hour earlier to reflect on your day, or what some people call visualization. I know someone who is really good. He says he looks at what he's supposed to do in a week and he visualizes even some of the meetings in advance and thinks about what people would say in those meetings and thinks about what he would say in response. When he's at that meeting, he's completely in a creative flow compared to you who have not thought about it and are coming in. So preparation as well helps, and which is what I'm calling environment. That at times we just need to embrace different ideas to what we already hold and explore new perspective about different things. The We also need to ignite our passions, because our passions, when you're happy or in a flow, you discover that ideas begin to come. For some people, it's when they listen to music, you get those ideas. But what we do many times is we switch off our mind from those ideas. I would encourage us to always have something ready to write those ideas down. There's been a lot of songs composed by people who suddenly the melody just came to them and they're wondering, somebody would have sung this before, but they wrote it down. But there are also a lot of people who would have some ideas and say, do you know, I wish I wrote down that idea and acted on it. Get a pen and paper ready, because now we know that creativity would come. And creativity at times doesn't come when you are expecting it. At times it comes when you're not expecting it. I know some people think about things, ruminate in the background, and as they're ruminating, the idea now pops in. So let's try and ignite our passions, be in a good creative flow, and you'll be surprised about how the passions will begin to happen. The final point I wanted to raise about this is we need to embrace failure and people criticizing us. This is a big one, which is why I put it last. A lot of the times, what actually holds us back is fear of failure, fear of people laughing at you, fear of people thinking, this one is trying this and he's not good at it. Fear of the fact that some people might be better at things than you. Fear of the fear that you are not good enough. The fear that what you are producing may not be of the right quality or standard. Or fear that people will just mock you and laugh at you, or people would not take you as serious. I would say, I know a lot of people would say things around don't don't just ignore them, avoid it if possible. I have a different view. I believe that no matter what you do, even if you avoid them or you try to ignore what they are saying, what happens is that they would still keep on anyway. My view is when we are being creative, I know this is hard, but we need to remove our emotions from it as being people giving us either the pass or fail on it. I know this is really hard, but it helps us to take out our emotions or seeing it as something we have failed on, but rather see it as a ongoing project and see their contributions as, critics. Just see them as critics. Some of the best films that have been produced have sold lots of, millions, billions of turnover on the films. Some of them have been criticized by, critics who have found flaws in some of the films or some of the way things were portrayed or the CGI use or the storyline. No matter what you do, expect to be criticized, whether fairly or unfairly. When you are criticized fairly or unfairly, if you are not emotionally attached to the outcome or the criticism, it makes it easier for you to learn from the criticism. Because if someone tells you, this is so bad, um, you say, thank you. What was bad about it? That might give you an insight into how you can improve that product or the creative idea you have. Because a lot of times we try and hold on to our creativity and feel that our creative idea is the best of all and nothing should change it, and other people don't have the right to improve it or give you some feedback about it or their opinion. I've seen a few people, and I believe it's happened to me as well, because we're all humans. Everyone feels unhappy when you've come up with something you're excited about and someone just pours cold water on the idea. But we need to take it as a learning opportunity, take it as this is school. Some of the best things that have been produced have come through collaborations, has come through someone coming up with an original idea and a few people adding tweaks and improvement to it. When the final products came out or the final project, it was a massive success. But what I would also caution against as well is now accepting all the negativity. Because one thing about negativity is that it's even, I believe it's even like an evil spirit at times. It can weigh you down and prevent you from being happy, which is why you'd see some people, no matter how much success they've achieved in life, still end up feeling depressed or resort to suicide. It's because they have opened up to a lot of negativity and people, and that's weighed them down. And they now feel that people have the right to judge their work. So you can get feedback from people in order to improve what you're doing, but always be ready to flush those advice away if it isn't going to improve what you're doing. But you owe yourself that. You owe yourself and you owe that your creativity the ability to listen, not just hear, listen, regard what they're saying. If it's malicious, just cut it off. But if it would help improve what you're doing, take it on board. Also, we need to take risk. There's nothing guaranteed in life. At times, even as Christians, we don't want to take risk. We want to say things like, okay, I can feel God is telling me to do this, but I need 5 people to confirm it to me. I need 5 people to confirm it to me that I know God is telling me. I know my heart is heavy about this. I know that I'm being prompted to do this, but I need more confirmation. That bias is coming from a place of not wanting to take risk, wanting to be safe, wanting to not experience any failure. The psychologists have divided psychology into two main things. They said it's either you're running away from a bad thing, which is usually failure, or you're running towards something that gives you pleasure. And that's what they have defined as advanced psychology. Many times we are attracted towards our goals. We want to pursue it. Some of our ambition, some of the things we want to do. At times, we even take some little steps, baby steps, or even massive steps. But when we're taking those steps, because we're not sure of ourselves, we lose that confidence, we lose that drive. And with that drive being gone or reduced, it becomes easy for criticisms to be exaggerated and lead to eventual failure. Today, we need to unleash our inner creative because God wants us to exhibit the creative powers that He has. What are those things you're doing the normal way? Just try and, make it a bit more spicy. Variety, they say, is the spice of life. Are you doing work the normal way? Try and introduce something different. It might cause you to have to research a bit, but add something different to the table. Are you in a relationship or have you been married for many years? Try and do something different once in a while. It might not be all the time, but just try. Be creative. Be creative about even the way you talk, the way you do things, the things you do, problems, solutions. Spend some time thinking about different things. And guess what? That idea might just come, and that idea could transform everything for you. I know it's a fast paced world we're in. It's difficult to live life normal without having to, without, at times, like I said, you don't even have time to rest at times. It's non-stop. But we owe it to our world to be creative by boosting our creativity and unleashing our inner creativity. It would also help us enhance our problem solving skills. You discover that you are now able to look at things in a different way, which will then boost confidence and enable you find new ways to express yourself. When people start seeing your creative abilities, you discover that they will tend to want to flock to you to discuss different things, to get your ideas about even things that are not related to your area of core expertise. Whether you're looking to enhance your professional skills, improve personal relationships, or just add more joy or satisfaction or excitement to your life, your inner creativity will provide you with the tools to do that. And you need to start tapping into it. Unleash your inner creative. It's the solution you've been looking for. Unleash your inner creative because that is what would give you that extra edge to get to the next level. You may be stranded now because you've not tapped into your inner creative. The inner creative helped Joseph when he was just interpreting dreams and saying, this person, this would work, this is going to happen to this person, this is what's going to happen to this other person. They forgot about him because he was merely telling them deep insights, very useful, but there was no creativity involved. But when the Pharaoh had a dream, not only did he give the dream or tell Pharaoh the dream, he then told Pharaoh that this is how you can get around what this dream means. Tapped into his inner creativity. He was able to say, you need to appoint a man trustworthy who can look after this, store the grain during the years of abundance, create storehouses, do X, Y, Z. And what happened? He got the job. Many times, being information hogs and information repeaters and playing safe keeps us where we are, which is the same place. In order to leave your safe place or the same place, you might need to take risk. And taking risk is allowing your creativity to shine through. People might tell you that idea doesn't make sense. Guess what? People living there will think, wow, we like his problem solving skills. One idea may not work today, but another idea would work tomorrow. You just have to keep going on. You have to keep expanding your creativity, because your creative ideas, the first one might not be the best one. It might take two or three or four, but you need to keep on churning them out. You might find out that I'm having creative ideas in the area of drama and I don't know anything. I have creative ideas in the area of maybe filmmaking, but I don't know who to talk to. I don't know what to do. There are a lot of people who have been in that. Some of us might know of a guy called Shane Black. He was struggling, but he wrote a script called Lethal Weapon, and that transformed him. Arnold Schwarzenegger did the same. Rambo. He too did the same thing. Don't limit yourself. God has created some skills in you. I was talking to some people yesterday. I was invited to speak at a conference yesterday, and one of the things I said is, we've spent most of our life developing one skill, which is either paying our salaries or it's our business and the thing we're doing. We've spent so much developing either one skill or one talent or being good in a particular area that we've lost focus of the fact that we could actually do two or three other things which are outside the things we've spent most of our lives preparing for, and that's creativity. If you feel the itch, if you feel the bug, try it out. Call people, research it. I came across, for example, some people who pitch ideas for filmmakers, and some filmmakers they're looking for people with ideas, but some people have the ideas but keep quiet because they feel, I don't have any connection, I don't have any filmmakers. You have to let your creativity drive you. You have to let it move you. Um, yeah, okay. I think this is a good contribution from Alice. It said to live a creative life, we must lose our fear of being wrong. Yes, you need to lose that fear of being wrong, because that fear of being wrong or right is holding you back. It's not about you being right or wrong. It's about you giving birth, creating something that is going to be glorious, creating something that God has put in you, creating something that God will not allow you to rest. You yourself, you don't feel any peace because that thing has not come out. It's about you giving birth to what God has put in you. And it could be in different areas. It could be in an area you've not even thought of. There's some popular songs that's been produced by, or that's been written by people who are not professional singers. There's some films who have been developed, who have been, the ideas and everything has been provided by people who are not in the film industry. There's some creative ideas that's been brought about, solutions by people who are not in that area. So there is no excuse, there is no reason for you not to manifest God's glory. We're getting to the end of the year, but that shouldn't limit you. Those ideas you've had, bring them out quick. Begin to look at them. What can you do with them differently before the end of this year? What can you do to make this year a glorious year? Don't worry about the idea being wonderful or not. Just implement it. The man who buried his talent, he was worried about the outcome of the idea. And I'm not saying be throw all caution to the wind or be risky or maybe bet all your money on a very risky transaction. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that unleash your creativity. You shouldn't hold it back, because your creativity is the key to your greatness. Your creativity is the door that would lead you into stardom. Your creativity is the lift that will take you from where you are to where you want to be. It's the springboard for your success and recognition. Don't hold it back. And creativity could be in, like we said, in any way. It could be in your professional life. Stop doing things the same way. Are there ways to do things in a different way that will be more effective? Are there ways to help other people? Do you have ideas of what will make other things click? Begin to exercise your creativity muscles. Because if your creativity muscles is not really energized, you might need to exercise it. And don't get offended if your ideas is not taken. Like we said, the first idea may not be the best idea, but as long as you keep doing it, as long as you are consistent, as long as you are not afraid of being laughed at, as long as you continue doing the things you want to do. We talk about people who have achieved things and said, yeah, these people achieve things. Do you know how many ridicule they would have faced? Do you know how many people would have told them, you're crazy, this can't be done? Do you know how many people would have told them, you're not good enough? We've seen a lot of people even sing, do major albums like Dylan is so known, so many other people that when you listen to them sonically or acoustically, you say these people are not the best singers, but they've put their foot forward, they've done something, they've allowed their creativity make a way for them. Nothing should hold us back, nothing should hold you back. It's almost the end of the year, but you need to get out that creative idea. You need to shake it up and begin to use it. So it said, someone said, sometimes it's more about the creative process than the end product being perfect. Yeah, I agree with that. We shouldn't limit our ideas to it being perfect. We should just come out, be creative, and I advocate get feedback, let it be improved, but make sure those ideas don't die. Make sure they don't sit within you. Make sure that you're saying it, you're living it, and you're actively trying to implement it so that they come to life. Enough of allowing your inner creative to die. Paul refers to the inner man. Your inner man, your inner creative wants to come out. It wants to take you to a place of renown. It wants to lead you into a better life, but you have to let it. You have to let go of the baggage. You have to let go of the way you've been thinking. You have to let go of the logic. You have to let go of the I'm not good enough. You have to let go of the history lessons. You need to cancel all those history lessons when you're thinking about an idea and you're thinking about the fact that your background wasn't good enough or you had some challenges. I would say ditch those history classes. You don't need them now. Forget history, face reality, and implement your creative class. Move into the creative realm, and you begin to experience a new dimension of God's grace. What God does in us is He creates, puts potential in us. As long as we act on those potential, as long as we act on those talents, then the blessing now comes. It's not just about saying, Lord, 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 Lord. He'll say, but I've given you some talents. What have you done with those? Go and walk with those and let me know how that has gone. God is ready to bless you. He's already blessed us before the foundation of the world. But what did He do? If we go into Ephesians 1, He said He's blessed us with spiritual gifts. And those spiritual gifts that means they're things that are not physical, they are things inside of you, but you shouldn't allow it to be held back because you don't believe in yourself. Stop believing in the things you think. Start believing in what the Bible is saying. You can't say you're a follower of God and be judging what He wants you to do based on what you think rather than what He thinks and what He says. It's time for us to ditch the self-pity script. It's time for us to stop doubting ourselves. It's time to move into the new level. Enough is enough of killing the inner creative. Enough is enough of living life day to day like a zombie, like a robot who just does things in a certain way all the time. It's time to begin to flourish. It's time to begin to do things differently. I'll start wrapping up now. Okay, Alice, yeah, she said she created something 2 days ago and doubted herself, and everyone she sent it to said they liked it. And I looked at myself and said, um, fear. Okay, yeah, unfortunately, I didn't get the full something, but that's it. That's the spirit. Um, we need to stop doubting ourselves. It's going to be hard because our brain would want to, like we said, think about the past. It would want to think about our routine, our skills, feedback, what people have said about us in the past. We would want to assess ourselves. Like, I don't feel I'm good enough. Who am I? There are a lot of people who have created things. I'll tell you, all people who have created things are ordinary people like you. Nobody is special. Everyone is equal before God. And God has created this thing in every one of us, but it's time for us to launch out. The only difference between a lot of them and some of us is they really believed in themselves and moved on with the idea. They became successful, and we're now reading about them. We're reading about what they've said, what they've done, and trying to imitate that. When in actual fact, what we should be doing is implementing our own creative ideas and trusting God for a successful outcome. Stop burying what you have. Unleash your inner creative. The world deserves to see it. You deserve to see it. Your creativity isn't waiting for a perfect moment. Just start today and you'll be surprised about how God would lift you up, how God has already lifted you up because He has created those gifts in you, but we've not been able to activate it. Today, unleash your inner creative and you'll be surprised about how far God will take you. And thank you so much. Yeah, Alice has now also contributed. Creativity doesn't wait for that perfect moment. It fashions its perfect moments out of the ordinary ones. So I want to just encourage us all, like you said, is stop waiting for that perfect moment. It's time to get creative. What are you going to do today? Write down the list of those things. Write it down now. Don't forget. What are you doing that you need to be creative about? What are those ideas that you think are impossible? What are those things you call crazy thoughts that would make life easier for you and for other people? Begin to write them, begin to implement them. Unleash your inner creative because your inner creative would lead to the outer gratification. It would lead to the outer recognition. It would lead to world renown and it could lead you to that promised land. But one thing I'll say is that I can't promise that your inner creativity would give you everything you want in life. But I can guarantee you that by not acting on your inner creative and using it to the best of the potential God has put in you would ensure you remain where you are, which I reject for you in Jesus' name. I I disagree with that in Jesus' name. And I pray that today your inner creative will be unleashed. Your inner creative will be set free. Your inner creative would transform your life and you will become a person of renown because you didn't sit on your creativity. You didn't sit on that talent. You didn't bury it up. You didn't feel you could fail. You didn't feel that people will laugh at you, but you began to move into the space God has called you to be. Your inner creativity is the spiritual gifts God has put in you before the creation of the world. Would you waste it? God forbid. I reject that for you. See you next week. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful week. Have a creative week. Unleash your inner creativity. Everyone needs it. You need it. And if you have testimonies, please don't forget to share with us to encourage us further. And we would continue to pray as well that your inner creative will take you to where God has purpose for you. At times we cry and pray, but that inner creativity that God has put in you could be that ticket that He's already given you that you need to use to take that flight out of current circumstances to the future promise. Not even future promise, to the promise God has already given you. And the only reason why it's in the future and not in the present is because you've not used that flight ticket to travel into your potential. God bless you all. Have a wonderful week, everyone. I'll leave us with a song, a ministration from during the mental health outreach. So we had a wonderful brother who was talented, and he went to minister with his sax at the home for people with mental challenges, which is one of the things. Thank God for some of the members of From Box Praise who are not allowing religion or things box their thinking. It's about taking God out there, creating an environment of worship. So I'll leave us with that clip and encourage us. What is that creative idea you have? Write them down. What are those creative things you need to do? Write them down. What are those things you do the same way every day? It could be your job, it could be the way you walk, it could even be the same color of clothes and things like that. Just try and mix it up a bit. Try and create more spontaneity, variety in life, and you'll be surprised about how good you feel. And it could just be that trigger into greater things. So, love you all. Have a wonderful week. God bless you. Take care of yourself. Bye.